Hey, welcome back, hikers, to another weekly edition of my Q&A. I'm Bigfoot. If you're new to the channel or new to my weekly segment, it's really simple. All you have to do is ask your question or concern that you have about anything involving backpacking, outdoors, whatever it may be. Leave it below in the comments. I will take the questions from the comment box and use those to fill my following week's Q&A. In addition to that, you can also leave your questions on my Instagram page or my Facebook page. I will typically pull at least a question or maybe a couple from each of those, and you can also email your questions to me at followbigfoot@yahoo.com. Hey Bigfoot, what video and photo editor do you use or suggest to use on a cell phone to upload pictures or videos to YouTube? Great question. I've only used one editor on my actual phone, and it's iMovie. I use iMovie because it was free and it was relatively simple to figure out. I actually did a tutorial on the iMovie app in my channel. I will link it here if you want to check it out. Now I was able to kind of figure everything I needed to in a very short period of time before I hit the trail on my AT thru hike, which is when I started my channel. Now, when I got back from the AT, sometime I think in like December of last year, I actually switched and started using iMovie on my Mac because I went out and bought a Mac. And the functionality of the iMac, when you're doing it on a laptop or desktop, has a lot more than on your phone. You have a lot of restrictions. Now, when I got back from the JMT this last fall, I actually upgraded my software to Final Cut Pro. That's what I currently use today. It's what I'm editing this video in. And I just did that because I wanted more functionality and I wanted to have a little more fun with being able to play and do more things with my videos. Now, I've only used iMovie on my phone. Now, I know there's probably a ton of folks out there that have used something else, that prefer something else, that have had a lot of success. So please respond to the comment of Chef Coco's here below with what you use and what you like about it. I would love to hear from that because a lot of what we learn here is from your comments. How is Miss Foot doing? I saw the video of you guys in the Boundary Waters and never seen her in any more videos. Miss Bigfoot is as elusive as Bigfoot, and she's a little shy, but what a great opportunity for us to catch up with her and see how she's doing.
Hi TJ, it's Miss Bigfoot. I'm alive. Let's see here. After the Boundary Waters, that experience was very interesting to say the least. It was completely outside my comfort zone. I've never done anything like that at all where, you know, at a certain time you know, for example, have to hang up a bear bag, and then if you're hungry, then you're, you know, SOL, I guess. You know, I'm not used to, you know, waiting till the next morning to eat, for example, sleeping in a tent. I actually, it wasn't in the video though, but I actually ended up crying. I had a little mini meltdown. I ended up crying once because I did not get a full-size towel. Well, you know, it's a new experience, so I mean, don't judge me. So after that experience, you know, after, you know, my arms hurting for like 3 days, pedaling for hours on end, I really needed a vacation. A vacation where I can lounge around, I get to do what I want, you know, if I want to sleep in, I get to sleep in. I get to sleep in a bed. So in October, I actually went to Australia with my mother for about 2 weeks. I got to check something off my bucket list I've been wanting to do, and which was to swim in the Great Barrier Reef before, you know, it all goes away. So that was amazing experience. I've never seen so many creatures, so many fish, you know, and so beautiful. It was just gorgeous. Just got back from Vegas last week. We actually, you know, we went to see the Backstreet Boys. I was 12-year-old Tammy for about 2 hours, so it was awesome. I felt young again, really young again. Other than that, my plans for next year is to go to trail days and maybe some short camping excursions with Rory. After the Boundary Waters, I think I can handle, you know, roughing it. Okay, think that's it. Thank you for asking about me.
Now, I got another comment on editing from Jeff Hall. I would like to see a tutorial on your editing process in the future. Keep them coming. That's something I would love to do. I want to kind of figure out Final Cut Pro a little bit more, and once I get more comfortable with it and kind of get the learning curve down, then I will definitely do a video on that. But like right now, if I did it, I don't think you guys would learn a lot because I'm learning a lot myself. How did your solar charger do on your JMT through hike? I was thinking about using it on my PCT hike next year instead of bringing a heavy anchor battery, maybe just a smaller battery pack. All right, well, actually, as a matter of fact, I am doing my review of my solar charger this upcoming Thursday, Thanksgiving, and I'll be able to answer all of your questions on that and also be able to recommend if it's something I would bring on a hike and if it's worth for you to be able to get rid of that anchor battery. Hi Bigfoot, can you explain what exactly a hostel is? What to expect? What do they cost? Where do you find them? Thanks so much. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. Great question. All right, so hostels are the way of life for thru hikers where they lodge. Hostel is not your typical hostel that you'll think about if you've never seen one, if you've never been to one, because you're probably thinking about the movie Hostel, right? I know you are. Now, a hostel is basically the poor man's version of lodging for thru hikers. Now, the average thru hiker is on a very tight budget, and we're gonna be out on the trail for 3 to 6 months. So we need to be able to save a lot of money. It's a place that provides us shelter, a warm meal, a shower, a nice bed sometimes, and a lot of great company. And in some certain circumstances, you actually can resupply at hostels as well. They are a great aspect of the trail, and the camaraderie that you have with other thru hikers makes it a really cool part of any thru hiking experience. Now, you can find hostels pretty much at every major trail. Now, the Appalachian Trail I did last year, there were hostels in every single trail town, multiple hostels at every single trail town. But hostels are just a great experience for thru hikers on a budget, and they're pretty damn sweet too. Will you shoot a video demonstrating your daily stretch routine? I don't think I've seen a thru hiker video on this, but it seems mighty important for any long distance hiker. Absolutely, I would love to do a video on this. I think it is definitely practical and something that a lot of folks would gain from. Now, if you guys watched last week's episode, you might remember a comment left by the real Bigfoot that told me I'm an imposter. After looking and reviewing at the comments for this week's video, they commented again. If I'm supposed to follow Bigfoot on this channel, then it should be a real Bigfoot. Enough said. All right, so I had enough of this, and I decided just to call this person out. So I responded back by saying, well, I've heard about enough from you. If you are really the real Bigfoot, why don't you prove it? Come on the show next week. Now, they responded back as well. Consider it done. I'll be there. So I don't know what that means, but we might have an actual opportunity to have the real Bigfoot on the show here next week. So stay tuned, wait for next week's video. I'll see if I can get them on the show. What hike adventure are you planning next? Well, I haven't planned my 2018 adventures as of yet, except for one that I am for sure doing. It is called the Katy Trail. It's actually a trail that's in Missouri where I used to live. I'm gonna hike this with my old neighbor, Jim. He actually came up with the idea. This trail called the Katy Trail is part of a project called Railways to Trailways, where they actually transformed this trail from an existing railroad, which means it's really flat. It's not going to be strenuous, but it's going to be something that's going to be fun. It goes through a couple of areas of Missouri that I really liked. Probably my favorite city in Missouri, which was St. Charles. And it's probably like 250, 260 miles. We are going to be doing like 40-mile days, really pushing it. Again, it's not going to be super tough, but it's going to be really fun, and it's something I'm definitely looking forward to. Now, outside of that, I am not confident what else I'm going to be doing. I'll probably have some idea in the next 30 to 60 days. On average, how many miles do you get out of a pair of shoes? I am getting somewhere between 400 to 550 miles on my shoes. On the Appalachian Trail, I think the least that I got was about 420, and the most I got, I actually kind of pushed it, and I shouldn't have, but I got close to 600 miles on my shoes. Something to keep in mind about the trail runners. What a lot of runners do, which is something that a lot of experienced hikers do is keep in mind exactly how many miles they have on their footwear. The footwear is probably the most important piece of gear that you have on your entire body because they're taking care of your feet. And a lot of runners swear by the rule of 500, where no matter what, when they hit a pair of shoes that hits 500 miles, they are ditching them, even if they are still in good condition. And the reason for that is the fibers inside of the actual shoe break down and cause a lot of injuries. So no matter what, a lot of runners will not use their shoes after 500 miles. I have adopted that principle, so I really keep in mind how many miles that I have. If I get somewhere around that 500 mile, I am just ditching them because it's just not worth for me to injure my feet while I'm out there on the trail. When did you start to be interested in hiking, backpacking? Have you always loved it or only started because of a certain experience? Actually, my backpacking experience started coming about 11 years ago. Me and my brother, Chad, would go on annual trips that we started, I think it was like the year of 2005. What we started doing was canoeing back in the Boundary Waters, which is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite place to go, where we would canoe in Portage in the northern part of Minnesota. And then after we did that for a couple of years, we really wanted to try the whole backpacking and hiking experience. So we would go to a different national park each and every year and backpack the backcountry of that national park. And in the year of 2013, we went out to the East Coast and stumbled upon the ATC, and it was my first time ever being on the East Coast and my first time, of course, ever being in the Appalachian Trail Conservancy. I have heard of it, I knew about the Appalachian Trail, but didn't know a lot. We spent an hour there, and when I walked out, I was determined that I wanted to through hike the Appalachian Trail. The idea of hiking across America just was probably the coolest thing that I could have ever thought about doing with spending time out there in the outdoors. So fast forward a couple years later, in 2016, I took that opportunity and I through hiked the entire Appalachian Trail. And to this day, me and my brother try to take annual trips out there to a different national park. Sometimes, depending on what happens, we have to skip a year, but it's a tradition that we've been doing for quite a few years. Hi Bigfoot, I am thinking about using the lid of the Vargo Bot 700 as a cup. Do you think this is doable? Hiking the PCT in 2018 and hoping to save some grams with multiple purpose gear. Please let me know what you think. All right, so this is a great question because actually last week I did a review of my bot, and someone commented this. I use the top as a measuring device, knowing what line a cup fills to the lid. The lid is handy to have a quick cup of instant coffee while getting water ready for your oatmeal too. All right, so I had to try this out and see if this really worked. So what I did is I took my bot back at home and I wanted to find out, is this exactly a cup? Because if it is, it would be extremely helpful because a lot of times for me, I'm boiling 1 cup or 2 cups of water, and because the bot is measured in milliliters, it makes it a little more difficult to figure out exactly what I need to fill it up to. So I took it out, I measured it, and sure enough, it's exactly a cup. The top of your bot lid is exactly 1 cup water. So absolutely, not only can you use this as a measuring device, but you can also use it as a device to drink your coffee or whatever you want in. Now the only thing is, make sure if you boil your water in the actual cup itself, that it's not going to be too hot for you to be able to put up to your mouth. That would be the only concern that I would have. Question, do you still use that DeLorme inReach that triggered a false positive SOS call? Did it ever happen again? They have been selling super cheap lately, but I can't pull the trigger because of that issue. So the answer to the question is yes, absolutely. I use it on each and every single one of my backpacking trips. I've been using it ever since the Appalachian Trail. I have it for a number of reasons, really. Number one, to give an opportunity for those that want to track me, they can. They can track me on all my adventures. In addition to that, I can also have communication between Miss Bigfoot or family members if I don't have cell phone service and I need to get a hold of them somehow. And of course, in the event that I need to send an SOS, I have that as a backbone. Now you heard SB97 say something about the false positive SOS call. When I was on the Appalachian Trail, I stopped for lunch and I set my backpack down, and at this time I was actually keeping my DeLorme inReach Explorer inside of my mesh pocket. And what I believed happened was when I set it down, the bark of the tree must have pushed over the protective piece that covers the SOS button. And after that, something must have just hit it and triggered the SOS call. So it was something that I did personally wrong. What I do now is I never keep it in the mesh pocket. I always keep it up here on top of my shoulder strap. You might have seen that in my videos. Works out a little bit better on there as well. But this thing works really, really well. When that did get triggered, there was literally about 8 or 9 folks that were out looking for me within about 30 minutes. So for me, the DeLorean Reach Explorer is a must piece of gear that I bring with me on every single adventure as a safety measure. And seeing how fast the search and rescue responded to that definitely cemented this piece of gear as a must for me. Well, that's all I have for this week's Q&A. Again, if you want your questions answered next week, leave them below in the comments or check me out on Instagram or my Facebook. And of course, you can email me at followbigfoot@yahoo.com. Stay tuned for many more sightings, and remember to always follow Bigfoot.